Hey guys, Mr. Marcus here, and as you can see, MLO Master League Online, Mr. Marcus Mafia, that's what it's all about. And this episode, I will most likely be taking a break from MLO for not a while, not like weeks and weeks and weeks, but maybe a couple days, maybe a week at most, because this episode sort of shows off not everything which is wrong with the game, it's just really frustrating to play at the current moment, like really frustrating, and you'll see why. So, in this episode today, we have 3 matches for you. 2 against Liga Warsaw, but they're 2 different players, and the first match against Santander. Is that the one? No, Cervante Santander. So, this match against this guy, he had a relatively decent team as well, and it's really frustrating to see when you look at your team and when it comes up saying a difference in team strength small, and it's really not, and it's just lies. But for some reason, I took ages looking at his game plan. I don't know why I took so long before I ended up moving it into game plan. But I looked at his team as Danny Rose at left back, Nocerino in midfield, Icardi up front, and I was like, no, his team's pretty decent. But then when he had possession game on, I was like, okay, he's gonna probably play some nice possession football, and it'll be interesting to see. So, of course, kick off as you usually do, mark your players and whatnot, and then suddenly this was a bit frustrating. Okay, so. No, this game wasn't too frustrating really. I mean, Florenzi gets through on goal here and he actually scores quite a nice goal with his right foot. And it wasn't frustrating, it was the fact that he went at a custom... It sort of took a bit of the fun out of the game because he went to a custom tactic very early on. And it was just frustrating because, well, for him probably more than for me, because his custom tactic was basically all out attack, and it just basically made the game extremely easy for me. So, at half-time it was 2-0 to me. And I thought, okay, I'll continue with this. His pass completion percentage was quite low. My pass completion percentage was actually relatively high. And it comes to the second half of the game, and I scored probably the most fortunate goal I've ever scored ever. Like, look at that by Vidra, just runs past about 4 players and gets a shot to score his second goal of the game. And then, he started hacking me a lot, was basically the thing to say. Because, I mean, German here gets a shot away, and the referee brings it back for a penalty for whatever reason. I missed this penalty of Charlie Mulgrew, by the way. I hit it off the crossbar. And I was like, okay, the tide is changing, and the tide did change. It changed really, really quickly, because from this he has the ball of Chikazella, whatever his name is, and he heads it, and then as you can see, he's got 3-on-3, and he plays it for the Glasgow. It's actually a really nice ball to play it through, and he ends up scoring past Cato, and it was so frustrating because for whatever reason I went all out defence and it just was not working, because Florenzi for whatever reason gets put in centre midfield when he's an attacking midfielder. That's just because of the way that the defence went, the way when I changed it. But as you can see there, me doing a little bit of my time wasting myself, and it actually worked to make it 3-2. But it wasn't this game I was talking about where I'm going to be taking breaks in this game, because like that game I thought was relatively entertaining. I won a game 3-2 after being 3-0 up, and he nearly brought it back. If he brought it back, I would have been relatively impressed, because I would have probably messaged him after, like, good job, good game, man, good job bringing it back and whatnot. But then I went to the thing, got a rating of whatever, and got 8 more points up for whatever reason. I mean, I'm facing a guy who has like 100 more points than the guy I was facing in the end of the last episode, and for whatever reason, he got like 18 points for beating me, and I went 18 points down, and yet his point, like, I don't know how the points even work. But this is the match I was talking about, okay? Like, if this is any of you, I'm not going to hate on your gameplay. Your gameplay worked perfectly. It was just really frustrating to play, and you got a little bit of help from the referee. But it probably isn't any of you. But if it is, well, it is then. So, we faced against this guy, Liga Warsaw, and he had Welbeck up front, as you like an okay player, as Wolfsky and behind him. And he gets a penalty really early on for that. I did nothing wrong. I didn't do anything there. Ricardo Fati comes in the back of him and completely takes him out. And I was just like, what are you doing? So he got a penalty, and I was like, okay, score a penalty, I'm not too bored by it. But this is where it got frustrating. So he scored the penalty, popped it in the bottom right when I would always go bottom left. And then he was a good defender, okay, he was doing very good defending, but then he did this. So he had the ball with Avil Lumneda, his goalkeeper, and he kicked it out. And when he kicked it out, instead of going forward like you would in any game of football, he goes forward a little bit, thinks, oh, I can't go forward anymore, I'll pass it back. And he's basically played like Barcelona, but not going forward. He literally played like Spain winning the World Cup in 2010, when they just played a lot of football and didn't do anything. Won games 1-0 and whatnot. I mean, I was getting the ball here, trying to get it forward. Then I think he had the defense midfielders marking my players, so I couldn't get forward more. And like here, for example, he has the ball with the Pawlowski, runs on this left hand side, doesn't cross it in or anything. Well, he actually does try and cross it in, but gets the ball, and instead of going forward, he goes back. I mean, what are you doing? Like, it was really frustrating to play, and you can see by the stats at half time, 72% possession for him, and he had one more shot than me. And I thought, God, it's so frustrating to play. But I mean, of course, that's the whole point. You meant to play against people who who play different ways. But I'm just so used to playing people who do this. And this is when he started doing it, and I was just like, man, you have all this possession. There's no need for you to do that. You can actually play around my players and actually score a really nice passing goal and whatnot. But no, I'll try and ping it through every single time through to Danny Welbeck or whoever he was playing at. He wasn't actually playing Danny Welbeck at this point yet. But then he actually had Wilshere as well. I mean, he had a much better team than me. I mean, come on. But then he ended up actually scoring a goal here with Pawlowski when Christian Rodriguez, no, not Pawlowski, Milik. When Christian Rodriguez, for whatever reason, decides not to do anything with the bloody ball and just lets the ball go through his legs. It's just like, what are you doing, man? Like, come on. So, in the 61st minute of the match, I get shot away and I hit off the post. This is basically basically the episode where Vidra hits the post about 40 times. And then he scores this free kick. Okay, he's 30 metres out. So I was really impressed with the free kick, but I'd already skipped it by the time I showed it. So, but I mean, when I looked at that, I thought, okay, this is like some sort of exploit hit off both posts or something. So, like, it was the most frustrating game for me to lose 3-0 because basically one of his goals was a bit of a play through ball to try and get forward. And look at that, I mean, 62% possession, was it? I mean, come on, I mean, it was so frustrating to play considering that his goalkeeper was man of the match. He had 2 more shots than me in the game, but we had the same amount of shots on target. I don't know what it is, but I mean, then I ended up losing 10 points. He got 11. I was just like, and the most ridiculous thing is he probably deserves to be up there with rated 600 odd, and I probably deserve to have a rating of 500. If I'm being honest, I can't play this game to save my life. Actually, I probably can play this game to save my life. If a guy came into my house and was like, put a gun to my head to play this game to save my life, I would probably be playing it to save my life. So, yeah. So into the last match of this episode against another guy who had Legia Warsaw, but his rating was so low, and it's just like, whenever you face someone who has a low rating, you always know they have a better team than you. So his difference in team strength was small. Small. Complete bullcrap. So much rubbish. I mean, come on, look, you'll see his team. So his team, he had likes of Song Young-min, he has Julio Baptista, Wijnaldum, Chivu Parker. I was just like McGregor in goal, Johnny Evans at the back. I mean, of course, the majority of these players aren't high rated, but like, well, they're not high, not like 99s or 90s or above, but there are players who you recognise. And I was just looking, I was like, okay, this is really frustrating me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go out of this way and I'm going to beat the hell out of this guy, considering what had happened in the last match against another Legia Warsaw guy. When it came up Legia Warsaw, I generally thought that I was facing the same guy again, and I thought, oh god, I can't be bothered doing this again. But I wasn't facing the same guy. So with this game, in the first 3 minutes of the match, Vidra gets through on goal eventually, gets past Mbia, gets a shot away, and it's a really good shot, and it's just wide of the post. But then literally a couple of minutes later, Vidra runs past 4 players, gets a shot away, and he hits off the post again. What are you doing? But yeah, then I give away a free kick, which could potentially have been a free kick. Chivu takes a free kick and he pops it into the top corner. I don't think free kick goals are really that special really in PES really this year compared to other years, because, well, you score a free kick goal and it's like, well, you're using a reticle. I mean, come on. And then he nearly scores another nice goal there, but Kato actually does a really good job of defending it. And it goes out for a corner kick, yeah. Which, he doesn't score from the corner kick, if I remember correctly, because I don't concede from corner kicks. Every once in a while, only once do I concede from a corner kick. But this clears it. I mean, you see the stats at half time. And this guy, he was a good player, but of course he's a better team than me. So, and there's no such thing as handicap. So, which is good. I don't want there to be a handicap. So, into the second half with like 20 minutes remaining in the game, Vidra and Germain play really nice football together before eventually a chip gets through to Germain, who volleys it into the back of the net like the animal that he is. And about 8 minutes later here, Kato, after quite a good save, kicks it out, tries to give it to Germain, doesn't really work. Comes out to Ricardo Fati, however, who runs with Germain, plays a really nice ball into Vidra, takes one touch and he hits it into the back of the net past Alan McGregor to make it 2-1 to me, and literally going into the last minutes of the match. So It was a really good game because this guy, like, he wasn't trying too much in terms of, like, he wasn't trying too much in terms of keeping possession and not going anywhere with it. I mean, yes, the other guy did win 3-0, but, like, God. So, with this game, I sort of noticed that I played so much better when I don't have Florenzi in the teams, because Florenzi was on purple form and didn't want to play. So, I thought, maybe I'll get rid of Florenzi, because Florenzi hasn't done much. He's played 4 games, and the game said he actually scored 3 goals. It's a lie. He's only scored 2 goals. He scored that goal on not his debut. He scored a goal against the 3-2, and he scored 2 goals. Come on, game, stop lying to me. So I looked at Florenzi. I thought, okay, I'm going to get rid of him. So I actually ended up getting rid of him. I ended up improving my team in general because I wanted to improve the overall team. So I went out and was looking at players, and then I was looking for maybe another defence midfielder. And I got rid of Ricardo. I don't want Ricardo Fati, so I ended up getting rid of him eventually. And I went out and bought this Diagne Faye guy, and I was going to buy Mudin Gaye. Mudin Gaye is quite short, which I thought, like, I don't like having too many short players in the team, so I like players, like, at the current moment, with Florenzi and Ricardo Fati, my average height rating is 181, and Florenzi, average height is 181 centimeters, which is relatively tall. Like, it's about 6 foot, so, no, 6 foot, 5'10" to 6'1", and I was looking at it and I was like, okay, so let's look at the other players. So looking at Ricardo Fati and then getting rid of him and buying Diagne Faye, which I show here. And I thought, okay, I'll look at some other players. I'm sure Moonin Guy is I'm sure he's quite small, but it doesn't really matter because we looked at Diagne Faye and actually bought him for 945 points, which was pretty decent. And then I looked at other players and I ended up getting rid of Florenzi, and I ended up looking at Chantôme. So Chantôme and Shona were the two I was looking at. Shona is in the former Ajax player. I think he's Ajax player. Got rid of Florenzi for however many points, and I think it was quite a lot of points actually, 700 odd. And he's been owned by 1,000 odd people. It's like, come on, I don't like that. Like, the most owned player I have is Rodriguez with 400. No, I think it's either Rodriguez or Pereira with like around 500. Then Chantôme's been owned by like 20 people, and I was just like, okay, I could buy it. It was between him or Shona above him. I think it's Shona how you pronounce it, or Chon. And I went out and bought Chantôme because I've played with Chantôme before, and I really enjoyed playing with him. And of course, it left me with some points over because he was only 834 or 934. Let me see, because I can make it by the points total. 934. So then I was looking at other players, looking at maybe new strikers to buy. I was like, Andy Carroll, he's pretty decent. Why is he 4,000 points? What the hell? Why? He's not like he's amazing though, is he? He's 81 rated. Yeah, so I'm going to take a break for a while, maybe like a week or a couple of days, maybe 4 or 5 days, until whatever. And yeah, so if you have enjoyed this episode, subscribe to my channel for more, and catch you later.